So, aside from the academia, let's talk a little bit more about your current role at Bad Elf.
Yeah. So, we'll do an easy segue here. So, at Arizona State, when I was teaching, we were at the time using Trimble units in class to teach field methods. And in Scottsdale, company popped up, and this again shows my age. Companies, Bad Elf's 13 and a half, 14 years old now. They popped up and they had met Dr. Robert Balling, who was part of the program, and they brought me in. So long story short, the program actually ended up purchasing Bad Elf equipment for GPS. They had some of the first plug-in GPS back in the day. So I got to see Bad Elf 10 years ago. Um, Now, about 6 years ago, 7 years ago, I ran across a gentleman named Larry Fox. He's a coworker of mine now. He's my boss at Bad Elf. He had actually left Trimble. I was friends with him at the time, and he went over to Bad Elf, and it kind of started from there. So I've been at Bad Elf about 4.5 years. We are a low-cost alternative GPS provider, and I absolutely freaking love it. I don't know how else to explain it. It's the best job. I've been at a lot of jobs, I would say to a lot of the younger generation out there, don't follow my lead. I did a lot of corporate kind of hopping. Every couple years, I jumped companies to try to get up the ladder as fast as possible, which I guess has pros and cons as well. But I finally was able to find a company like this is the company if I can get some luck, like I don't want to go anywhere else. And the
Mhm.
the culture of the company, even you just Bad Elf. What is Bad Elf? Like, do you guys make skateboards? Like that's a weird name. Even from the concept of our name, everything downstream of that is we just have a great work-life balance. We have great culture. We support each other. It's a very kind of smaller dynamic team. We all love this geospatial world. And Bad Elf is a means to the end to engage in that world. We get to create hardware and solutions for people that, get to change the world, right? And so our GPS equipment, Bluetooth connects agnostically to iOS and Android, Windows. At that point, you can fire up, again, agnostically, basically any mapping app you want. A lot of our users are in the Esri ecosystem, and so they're firing
Mhm.
up field maps or Survey 123, Quick Capture, and that's amazing. We love it. But there's also a ton of third-party apps that are maybe a little bit more affordable or less complicated, not a full GIS or even free, right? So open source, QField, if you're a QGIS person or and you want to like be able to do some open source stuff. So our hardware, we dance with everybody. And that's actually a change, right? So um if you've been around the GPS world for a while, 10 years ago, you'd buy a GPS and then you'd get the antenna. You'd have to buy a data collector that was specific to the proprietary GPS. Then you had to buy proprietary software for the GPS. And then you had licenses for the GPS. And so it was a very expensive ecosystem. And then all of that data or those data exported out of that system and then either went into a GIS or a CAD system. Well, things changed when Esri really adopted field maps at the time of Arc Collector. And what changed was now the end software actually was able to do the data collection. So you didn't need a proprietary app to go data collect anymore. And that's the world Bad Elf lives in. It's some people call it BYOD. Some people are
Mhm.
like BYOB, bring your own beer. No, 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 not beer. Beer's for later. But BYOD, bring your own device. So you bring your Bad Elf GPS and you've got your iPhone that you just have, right? And you can connect them. Um, Prior to this idea, again, I mentioned you had like a data collector and the antenna and they stuck together forever. Well, that data collector gets old sitting on a shelf. I don't know about you, Jasmine. When was the last time you bought a cell phone?
Uh, Years ago.
A couple of years ago. So I'm running about four
Oh,
years right now,
oh
I
no, I
think.
mean like years ago, not even a couple. Like
Okay.
I'm someone that I don't care about getting the latest phone. I'm like, as long as it works, it works. But yeah,
So
years
don't
ago.
lie, you still have a flip phone.
You know what? This phone, I'm lucky. I have an iPhone 12. That's because it was given to me because before that broke. But in terms of what I actually bought a phone, I mean, yeah, I'd say about 4 years ago, something like
Okay.
that.
Yeah, I'm using an iPhone 11. So, but maybe we're a little more old school than that. But the average person these days, they get a new phone usually on a kind of a 2 to 4 year life cycle.
Hmm.
And if you use it's called Moore's Law. So Moore's Law, Moore was one of the co-founders of Intel. So computer chip, manufacturer. Moore's Law states that every 2 years, things get twice as fast and twice as small. So think about like computers in the 1950s, the ENIAC was the size of a room. And now we have, this was, even an iPhone 11 is 1,000 times more powerful than what we landed on the moon with. And
Hmm.
so my point is your cell phones and tablets get better and better every few years, right? And so instead of having something that sits on the shelf, dated technology for its lifespan, you can take our GPS and as the new devices come out, you can connect with it. And so it's just a paradigm shift of how we used to do it to where we are now. And it's just become a lot easier for people to go collect great data. It used to be super expensive. I'm talking 20, 30, $40,000 for to get a good setup of GPS. I can give you for $1,200. I'll give you data, GPS with your phone, and you can go collect dang near survey grade data for next to nothing. And your iPad has a lidar scanner in it nowadays, and so you
Hmm.
can have a lidar with a GPS and Esri for a few $1,000s. That setup before used to be $250,000. And so I get to bring this Bad Elf technology to people, and it's awesome. So yeah, Bad Elf has been a great segue. Yeah, we're pretty cool little company.